CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Makovic.
Right now on the afternoon edition, breaking news: water damage shutting down the DMV office at the Oakland Coliseum. Our chopper was over the building on 85th Avenue, and you can see some of the damage there. An Oakland City Councilman tells us that a thief was on the roof trying to steal copper from an HVAC unit, and that is what caused this water leak and significant damage there to the DMV. Here's a live look from our chopper right now over the scene. We've been watching professional cleaners there trying to deal with this mess, working to get more details, but again, the Oakland Coliseum DMV is shut down for at least today for these repairs. And more developing news: an earthquake shaking things up near San Diego. Have some Ring camera video as the preliminary 5.2 quake struck at around 10 o'clock this morning. That was near San Diego. The epicenter was recorded just northeast of there near a town called Julian. People in Southern California and Mexico felt that quake. No reports of any injuries or damage, but there were at least 7 aftershocks following that initial quake. It is already obviously a busy Monday. Thanks for joining us. We're also following a fire that gutted a media center near the UC Berkeley campus and forced evacuations of nearby apartments housing students. This was the scene overnight on Addison Street. There were flames towering over the building. Veronica Macias has more from the scene.
This media center here on Addison, very close to UC Berkeley, now destroyed. You can see PG&E is out here restoring electricity. The fire department also has investigators inside at the moment. Right now, we know that when fire crews arrived at about 3 a.m., flames were shooting through the front windows. Flames were also going through the roof, which was the primary concern. You had flames very close to the adjacent building, so families and UC Berkeley students had to be evacuated.
There was heavy smoke and fire showing from the front of the building and through the roof. We had 20, 30-foot flames that were impinging on the exposures on either side of the building. We did an emergency evacuation of the apartment complexes. We got everybody out, which was our primary concern. And then we did an aggressive exterior attack on the building itself. There was a heavy fire load inside. So it took almost 2 hours for us to actually get a handle on extinguishing the fire.
The good news this morning is that there are no injuries to report. There was no one inside the building during the fire. And we also know this was a big community staple here in Berkeley, with people being able to rent cameras and also use editing bays for the past 45 years. In fact, on the website, there is a workshop scheduled for teenagers in July that we clearly can see is not going to happen.
We are just one day away from a special election for Oakland's new mayor. It's going to be interesting. The two frontrunners, Barbara Lee and Lauren Taylor, spent the weekend urging supporters to turn in those ballots, because so far turnout across Alameda County has been very low. The Registrar of Voters says the office mailed out about 250,000 ballots to voters in Oakland, and only about 45,000 have been returned so far. That is just 18%. Again, Election Day coming up tomorrow. An historic antitrust trial kicks off today between Meta and the Federal Trade Commission, and we just got word that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has taken the stand. The FTC accusing him of buying Instagram and WhatsApp to stifle competition in the social media market. Meta arguing that it's not a monopoly and that the purchases did not harm competition. The FTC wants the Facebook parent company to break off Instagram and WhatsApp. The landmark trial is expected to stretch for several weeks. President Trump is hosting El Salvador's president at the White House right now. President Nayib Bukele is expected to be a key ally in the Trump administration's mass deportation operations. That comes as a Maryland man, his future still in limbo after he was wrongfully deported and detained inside a notorious Salvadorian prison. Speaking at the Oval Office, Bukele says he has no intention of getting him out. The Trump administration has also indicated it has no legal obligation to secure his release, despite the Supreme Court instructing the government to start taking steps to return him. The White House says it only has the power to let him back in the U.S. if he finds his own way back. President Trump's back and forth on tariffs creating turbulence on Wall Street. We've been watching that over the past week. And a new CBS News poll shows that Americans are feeling a little dicey about it. More people believe there will be price increases in the short term versus long term, while 30% believe prices will drop in the long term. About 20% believe the tariffs will not have an impact or are unsure. Meantime, 49% believe the tariffs will add manufacturing jobs. 25% believe they will result in job loss, while 26% think they're not going to have an impact. Natalie Brandt has more details from the White House.
The president's trade policy continues to unfold, with new questions about the tariff on some popular electronics from China, like iPhones. Administration officials say those goods are excluded from the 125% import tariff, but still subject to an earlier 20% tariff related to fentanyl. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says those tech items will also be considered for separate national security-related tariffs, with the goal of boosting manufacturing of semiconductors in the U.S.
It's shifting from one bucket of tariffs to a different bucket of potential tariffs.
You have to show a little flexibility, but we go back to what we have to do. The markets have been very strong once they got used to it.
Small businesses in the U.S. are pleading for flexibility as they face the full 145% tariff on imports from China.
Small businesses like mine are marginalized and left to bear the burden of this and to see our families suffer.
Ralph Bradley is the owner of a Texas-based company that imports lighting equipment for items including trailers, RVs, and farm equipment. His father started a joint venture in the early 90s with a family-owned company in China that makes the products.
We have a great relationship with them and are scared about not just our business being in detriment, but what happens to their business and their families.
Trump administration officials say negotiations with China will happen between Presidents Trump and Xi, but so far talks have not been scheduled.
Santa Clara-based NVIDIA, manufacturer of the world's leading chips used in supercomputers and AI, just announced that it is going to begin building a facility in Arizona to make the chips and one in Texas to make AI supercomputers. Taking a check on Wall Street right now, taking a live look at the big board. More swings today, but the Dow is up and has been up all day right now, almost 500 points. To our first alert weather now. It was such a gorgeous weekend around the Bay Area and plenty of sunshine to start off the week. Meteorologist Jessica Birch in our virtual view studio with a look at what's ahead.
We're really just continuing that beautiful weather as we head into the next at least into the afternoon hours today. Heading into the next couple days, the clouds are going to start returning for us here in the Bay. We're going to notice cooler conditions right around the corner too, but for now, take a look at these daytime highs. We're talking about 70s this afternoon in San Francisco, 60s along the coast in Half Moon Bay. We have 80s widespread throughout all of our inland areas, from areas like Santa Rosa down into Novato, all the way off into the East Bay, down into the Santa Clara Valley. It's a warm afternoon for us. Still above average for now, but that's going to look different as we head into the coming days. Another system's moving in from offshore. That's going to bring in some cloudier skies for us throughout our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday forecast. We're also going to see some gustier conditions, too. I mean, this morning alone, we've been dealing with nice light winds. It's going to look a little bit breezier for us heading into this afternoon with wind gusts anywhere up to around 20, 30 miles per hour just along our shoreline near San Francisco. I'll have more on that coming up in a bit. And then other than that, though, I mean, it's still a dry week for us all week long. You don't need an umbrella. It's beautiful weather. We're just going to crank down the heat a little bit more. We're going to cool back down into the 60s widespread throughout the Bay. Back to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jess. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area.
A historic and emotional day. I'm Karen Hua in West Texas with the first ever all-female crew to travel to space. We have a play-by-play from the crew, including from pop star Katy Perry and CBS's own Gayle King.
And we are gearing up for the Golden State Valkyries' first season and looking ahead to today's WNBA draft. Let's take a live look outside before we head to break. That is a live view of Chase Center along the bay, where the Valkyries are based, and we are going to be broadcasting their games here on KPIX. Lots coming up. We'll be right back. Taking another live look at Chase Center, where the Golden State Valkyries are gearing up for their first ever pick in the WNBA draft today. It is a new era in Bay Area pro sports. With the 5th overall pick, the Valkyries aim to build a strong foundation for the league's newest team. They'll also select at 17th and 30th. We're going to have a crew at the watch party at Chase Center's Thrive City starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Reporting back, CBS News Bay Area is the home of the Valkyries' inaugural season. More than 30 games airing on KPIX and on Pix Plus.
Liftoff. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
An historic moment. The first all-female crew launched into space on board that Blue Origin rocket early this morning. And on board was CBS Morning's co-host Gail King. Reporter Karen Hua has more from Van Horn, Texas.
Liftoff.
Under a partly sunny Texas sky, the first all-female crew aboard Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket blasted into space today.
Those ladies right now are having an incredible view.
It was the journey of a lifetime for this lucky half dozen, including CBS Morning's co-host Gail King and singer Katy Perry. Journalist and pilot Lauren Sanchez organized the group after pitching the all-women flight to fiancé and Amazon and Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos.
I can't wait to hear how it's changed you.
Gail's emotions were written on her face as she rang the bell heading into the capsule. A self-admitted nervous flyer, Gail took some items on board: her grandson's toy, a wooden cross, and a token from a stranger she once met at an airport.
I have never been more proud of my friend than today. This is overcoming a wall of fear.
Look at the moon. Look. Oh my God.
We could hear their voices as they reached zero gravity.
They are floating. They are weightless.
The group let out a collective squeal during a portion of free fall.
Parachutes.
Once the parachutes deployed, the capsule drifted down toward the Texas desert. The crew also included a film producer, a former NASA engineer, and a scientist who advocates for survivors of sexual violence like herself. That's Amanda Wynn, who made this flight a healing experience with a very personal zero-gravity indicator.
I ended up bringing it and floating it, and it's the hospital van from the day.
Gail kissed the earth when she returned.
I stepped out of my comfort zone in a way that I never thought was possible for me. And now that I've done it, I really do feel I can take on anything.
Turning a moment in space into an everlasting experience.
Wow, this was only the second ever all-female crew in the history of spaceflight. The first, though, was actually a solo trip by a cosmonaut back in 1963. Back on Earth, let's take another look at our first alert weather forecast, because it was just such a perfect weekend. I went by Dolores Park, and you can see everybody out enjoying the sunshine. There was the big Cherry Blossom Festival in San Francisco's downtown. So, yeah, what did you get up to this weekend, Jess?
Well, and I heard that Mission Dolores was extremely packed, actually, which I'm a little jealous about that I missed out on that opportunity. But hey, we have another beautiful day ahead of us today. Sunny skies, more warm weather. I'll show you your temperatures in just a bit. We were talking about the winds earlier. It's been pretty light so far this morning, but now that we're into the afternoon hours, we will get those onshore winds anywhere up to around 20, 25 miles per hour and in areas like San Francisco all the way over into Fairfield. But as we head all the way over to the map real fast, I want to show you these daytime highs because, like I said, if you didn't have the opportunity to go out yesterday, or if you were busy, or if you have some time this afternoon to maybe even just take your lunch outside and enjoy this fresh, beautiful air that we have here in the Bay, we're gearing up for another warm summer-like day. I mean, 70s in the forecast in areas like San Francisco, all the way over into spots like Oakland. We have 80s in the forecast in our East Bay, up into the wine country region and down into the Santa Clara Valley. You take a look all the way near, well, let's actually turn the camera just a little bit so you can see this. You take a look closer to areas like San Jose and Los Gatos. We are gearing up for another warm day with above average temperatures widespread throughout these communities. So take a look at the next 7 days real fast. We'll start off with our inland setup. those spots that just are dealing with 80s this afternoon are jumping to the 60s as early as tomorrow, which is where our coastal areas are at today. So a big shift right around the corner as this cold system moves in from offshore. It's going to do a couple things for us. It'll bring in more clouds, no rain as of now, but it will bring in some cooler weather, at least for the mid portion of this week, from Tuesday all the way into Thursday. You shift your eyes all the way into the weekend, well, we'll get another little warm up, not as much as what we have today, but we'll warm back up into the 70s around the corner for places like the East Bay, San Jose, all the way up into Santa Rosa too. Now you head over to the Bay, closer to San Francisco and Oakland. We're going to ditch the 70s as early as today. We're going to get right back down to the 60s heading into the rest of this week's forecast. We'll hold on tight to those clouds. This is what the Bay Area is used to during this time of year. I'll keep you updated on that. For now, like I said, heading into this weekend, it will stay dry, which is good news for any of those outdoor activities. Back to you.
Thanks, Jess. Coming up, new life for an old bar in the North Bay, and it involves a very different kind of clientele. With strollers and diaper bags, it can be tough for moms of small kids to get out of the house and try to get a cup of coffee. Two moms in Petaluma say they have found a solution, and it involves an old bar. This building used to house the Roaring Donkey Bar, had a bit of a rough reputation, and the city shut it down. Now, two local moms are working to turn it into an art center and coffee shop called Art Play Cafe. Their goal is to make a space designed for families. They say they are inspired by their own search for welcoming places.
I actually was at a coffee shop when I was a brand new mom with my little baby in my stroller and other friends with their babies in strollers. And we were just trying to get together and there wasn't any space for us.
They hope to officially open sometime in June. We'll be right back. A surprise appearance at Coachella is going viral.
The future of what happens to America is dependent upon your generation.
Yeah, instead of bringing a musical guest on stage, singer Clairo brought out Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. He encouraged younger generations to, quote, stand up and fight for justice. His appearance comes after he held a rally in Los Angeles as part of a tour that he is doing with AOC called Fighting Oligarchy. You never know who you're going to see at Coachella. That is it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Just go to Live and then choose Bay Area. Meantime, enjoy your Monday afternoon.